Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our collective prayers at the lotus feet of our most beloved Lord. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, and all the delegates who gathered here for these most amazing 2 days. Really, in the presence of God, every single moment is precious. It is an opportunity for us to savor. I remember when we were in the US with Bhagwan just a couple of months ago, the host was driving Swami to Stanford University for the event. And he said, Swami, thank you for this opportunity to serve you in your mission. And Swami was quick to reply. He said, thank you for taking this opportunity. Opportunities are plenty. Opportunities are there in front of us. It is up to us how we take this opportunity. And last night, when we landed in this beautiful city of Kuala Lumpur, there were a group of devotees and youth who were gathered at Brother Ayahu's residence. And Swami said, youth is about possibilities. It is all about possibilities. Swami took the example of young Dhruva, Prahalada, Nachiketa from the scriptures. And he said, look at all these children. They took the possibility and they achieved. They realized God at that young age. You don't have to be old to realize God. A car is young and new. It can drive a long distance. Then Swami went on to very beautifully give an example and say, see, look at a river. If it directly merges into the ocean, can you drink that water? No. But if you channel that water through dams, through reservoirs, that water from the river can make itself useful to others before it goes and finally merges into the ocean. And that is the purpose of all our lives, to be able to do something to our fellow human beings. And today, Swami has blessed, this evening, Swami has blessed 3 wonderful speakers who have just done that, taking every single opportunity, every single possibility to be able to be of some use to a fellow human being. Our first speaker is a youth from Sai Ananda, Brother Dev Arjun. Brother Dev is the son of a wonderful couple who had devoted their lives in service of their beloved Lord. And so they followed suit. And he wanted to serve Bhagwan. And from a very young age, he joined Sai Ananda. Today, he's a student here and he's pursuing his third year engineering. And he will address all of us and talk to all of us this evening about his journey, his experiences in Seva. Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams to the lotus feet of Bhagwan Baba. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters. The reason I'm standing in front of you is to share my journey of transformation. And Swami told me to share the story because he said youth is the leaders going forward. And he told me in Korea that I should share my journey in transforming. So back then, I really didn't understand what he meant when he said share your story, because I I've always been living a simple life, and I always thought that's how everyone lives. So I never thought that there was certain parts in my life that I was challenging and I was really making some change myself. So when he asked me that question and he asked me to speak about it, I really thought and I really said, okay, this is time I should analyze what has been happening. So I could backdate to a little story back when I was 10 years old. I used to ask my mother a lot of questions, and I used to annoy her with whys, what, when, and all those kind of questions, like why is this yellow and why is that red, those kind of things. And she got a little annoyed and she said, okay, I'm going to give you a book, and you start reading this book, maybe this will answer you. And the book title is sorry, let me just get the book right, because it's a very, very old book. It's about challenging the monkey mind. Okay, it's about training the monkey mind and becoming a mastermind. I believe this is written by one of Swami's devotees. And by reading this book, I got a realization at the age of 10. And I said, okay, this is about life. And the theory that I got back then is that everyone has a reality in them, and that reality is based on beliefs that were put in them as a child, and when they were children, by their parents, by their elders, and by their environment around them. So the beliefs that people have are like, you can't cut your nails at night. There are some reasons for it, but those are the beliefs. So you live your life and as a reality because of these beliefs. So I said, okay, if that is the reality in life, how can we challenge it? Because if we are going to base on these realities, why does everyone have a different version of that reality? Because if it's real, it has to be one, it has to be truth. So that's when I started living and I started analyzing my elders. And I see how each one of them actually have a different version of their reality. So I saw that each one of them have their own beliefs. And just to give an example, I remember once my dad was driving really, really fast and on the road, and he made a really terrible overtake. And at that moment, I got really angry. And then the thought hit me about this book. And he said, I'm angry because I believe he's driving wrong, but he probably does not believe that he's driving wrong. So everyone has got their own version of reality and their own version of beliefs that are driving them forward. So I believe this story of transformation, and why I'm bringing this up, is because every one of us have got our own reality, and I'll give you an example of how this connects to Swami's mission. Just say, for instance, we're trying to do a Seva project. The kind of questions and the kind of beliefs that we have, such as we should only help Hindus or we should only help Indians, such beliefs should not be there, because those can be challenged, those can be questioned, and those cannot fit in Swami's mission. Swami's mission is so universal, Swami's mission is so transformational that all those beliefs that we were born with, we were raised with, can be challenged when we come and do Swami's work. Hence, my journey of transformation is about challenging my beliefs. Every single time I have someone give to me, or something that was shared with me, I will challenge it. And that's how I've been living day in and day out. I believe this is what Swami wanted me to share. And I'll keep this very simple because there are 3 other speakers. And I hope every one of us, although we come from different backgrounds, we can always challenge our beliefs and challenge our reality, because there can always be more than one reality. There can be always more than one belief that you can hold on to. It does not have to be what your parents taught you. It does not have to be what someone taught you. It has to be, as long as you're doing something for the greater good, that should be the belief. That should be the reality. So with one sort of mindset, we all can become together and doing Swami's work together. And I would like to end my speech. Thank you very much.
I remember Swami once saying, in the path of Seva, you will get the maximum challenges. And it is a learning, because that is the transformative process. Why is Swami building all these hospitals, these schools, ashrams around the world, all these beautiful initiatives? It is for each one of us. He says, each one of you, as you participate in these activities, you will undergo a self-transformation process. And it is for that He's giving us this opportunity to be part of His glorious mission. So ultimately, one day, we will realize this and go closer to what He wants us to do. From I to we. And that is the road. And then ultimately we merge into Him. And our next speaker is from a third generation Sai devotee. He probably saw Swami's photo as soon as he was born. And he has lived and breathed his life in the name of Bhagwan. Child prodigy, is a musician. Never learnt music formally, but was mentored under the great singer from India, Sri Anup Jalota. Brother Sumit Tapu is who I'm talking about, and I'm sure all of you have guessed that. Swami commanded him to go and study in Australia. He's from the Fiji Islands. And thereafter, every time he would come to Prashantanalim to perform at Bhagwan's lotus feet, Swami would give him a lot of guidance. He was one of the youth leaders in the organization. He led the youth of Fiji and Australia. And today he is the World Youth Leader for Men and continues to spearhead a lot of activities along with his other brothers who are present here from Fiji. The various initiatives, and he's also leading with his father, Brother Mahendra Tapuji, the ashram project, the hospital project in Fiji. Brothers and sisters, Brother Sumit Tapu.
With love, humility and reverence, I offer myself at the divine lotus feet of Parabrahma Swarupa, Shiva Shakti Swarupa, Satyanarayan Swarupa, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Silent elders, students, and the youth of Asia Pacific. Salam to all of you. As I was sitting there, Sister Bhuvana mentioned that we're in the company of God. Have we internalized this? Do you know who sits on the Jula? The Lord of the universe. God is actually sitting there on the Jula, beautifully singing, watching us, looking at us. How blessed we are. How blessed we are. Let us all sing to Him first. You all know the song, and I want you to feel this because you're singing to God. I will love you. Again. I will love you. I will love you. More and more each day. More and more each day. I will love you, dear son. I will love you, dear son. Forever and a day. I will love you. More and more each day. I will love you, dear son. Forever and a day. I will love you. I will sing, my Lord, I will serve, my Lord, I will sing, my Lord, I will serve, my Lord, I will call your name. We are so blessed to be here. We are so blessed to be born at a time when the Lord of all Lords has taken birth. And we're so blessed right now to be a part of this most sacred mission. And a lot of us forget this, and a lot of us think what efforts we've made, how much effort we've put to be here today. We've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. In Kodaikanal this year, on the penultimate day, I sang a song to Swami. कैसे जीऊं मैं तेरे बिन, कैसे जीऊं मैं यूं तेरे बिन, तू जो नहीं तो तेरे बिन मेरा जीना नहीं. The verse of the song is like this. Song I'll just sing 2 lines. ये भूल कैसे करूं मैं भूल जाऊं तुझको, मैं खो भी जाऊं कहीं तो ढूंढ लेना मुझको. तेरा मेरा तेरा रिश्ता बना सबसे जुदा. He sings it. Swami, how do I live without you? Not a moment in my life will go by without you, Swami. The verse, dear youth,
that means you lose your lifestyle. And the things you are giving your children, and the things that you are giving your wife, and the life that you are living was threatened, so you contract. Ideals become memories. Fear is always there. And at work you even bend your morals a little bit. Maybe you steal a little bit of somebody else's work, so you get a gold star from the boss. Maybe when they come around with the chopping block, you hide over in the corner because you don't want to get fired, or you point at some other guy, or you drop little poison droplets so that everybody stays away from you. I have many friends that by the time they were 30, well, I call them the walking dead. And they are. Because they've given up their ideals. They've given up what the moral values that they were trying to rediscover when they put that backpack on, which I did, and went all over India at a young age looking for the truth. My good fortune was that I had an independent business, and I had a master whose words had changed my life. Very simple words. I'm a child of the 60s, as you can probably tell, still growing up. It was amazing. It was a time where there was the only love and peace revolution that's ever occurred in written history. Peace and love revolution. Can you believe it? That's why I did the business that I did. It was an altar to worship the heroes of the revolution. The musicians, the artists, the poets, the models of our time. But that revolution, which started in about 66, and I opened this place in London in 1971. by 72, 73, the revolution was dying. It was truly a labor of love. I wasn't interested in money. Money is a byproduct of doing something you really enjoy better than anybody else. The money comes last. You put the money first, you're finished. Finished. Never be happy chasing that money. Let it chase you. So I didn't know what to do because this was a labor of love and the revolution was dying and the heroes were leaving town. And that's when I went to India. Something called me there. Well, I know what it is. I didn't then. And looking for the master that was somewhere in my heart. I was getting a broadcast. I didn't know if it was from within, or from without. I now know it was always from within. And I found this master in Vrindavan after many months of searching every ashram and place I heard there was a yogi or anything, because I knew it was in this sacred land. And then the last day, before I was about to leave, he revealed who he was, and I went down to Bangalore and went to Vrindavan. And yes, he was so funny, he's so fantastic. He described the way I looked not long ago, with the long hair and the black clothes. But he also described that I had my foot up against the wall behind me, which I hadn't thought of since the moment I put my foot up on the wall behind me, 1974. And he came up to me and he said, "You've come at last. I've been waiting for you. We are old friends. We're not new friends. Wait here." And as Miss Bhuvana kindly pointed out, I waited 17 years. But I knew he was the one. And what he was teaching me, and the first couple of times, there was no one there, but I thought it was a white building. The guy was hanging on a rope, just starting to bend all this metal and make elephants and peacocks. And I had a lot of money, so I could come over as often as I wanted to, because we were so incredibly successful in his will. And I went into the Southern Canteen. Well, there was only one canteen in those days. And by the way, they had a huge pond right behind the South Canteen where every mosquito in the world was being born every day. Because it was like this, day and night. Thank God they got rid of that. Anyway, I was in despair. Guru or not, what was I supposed to do? I wanted to leave my business. The meaning had gone out of my life. I didn't care about the money. The meaning. Why am I doing this? I was doing it for the revolution, love and peace, and it was leaving. I sat in that Southern Canteen and that marvelous food, whatever it is. You've been there. And I looked up, and just above the door, as you walked out, somebody on an old piece of driftwood, a piece of wood about that big and so forth, so it looked like the state of Tennessee, a parallelogram. And somebody with finger paint had painted on that piece of wood, "Love all, serve all." I stared at that piece of wood, I don't know how long, but just long enough to change my life. Because this is what my heart has always told me. And this became the meaning. This made me continue. This became the way and why this place must continue. And I went back, and I am what I am, but I get my kids together, and I was one of them, younger than a lot, most in fact. And I preached to them. Well, preach, I'm not so sure. Testify maybe is a better word. I'd tell them they were all divine beings. I would tell them that the reason they're here on the planet is to recognize that divinity in each other. I told them that they were all immortal, because I knew I was. And I knew also that I was a divine being, because my master had told me so, and I trusted him, and I had faith in him. That faith kept moving me through time and space without ever really growing up. Those that know me know that I'm a child. Religion, Swami has said, is man-made, and it is. To me, it's just a corporation that doesn't pay taxes. Spirituality is a journey in which each one of us are on, from Atma to Atma. That journey is alone. There are no two journeys that are alike. On this planet, there's no two journeys that are alike. We're all headed for the same destination, but it's alone. To think that everybody's going to believe the same thing at the same time is insane. Impossible. But you see, we're herding animals. We like to play it safe. We like to follow the leader, be part of the group. Don't make any waves, don't make any decisions. The leader will make the decisions. But that's not evolution. That's a waste of time and a waste of life. Deb's got it right. Challenge, think, rethink. They call this a youth meet. How many people in this room are under 25? Any hands? Oh, he's the only honest man here. And this one's not far away either. He's two wonderful gentlemen. I'm so blessed to travel with them, and they're much wiser than me, both of them. So, I must tell one story, because I know you're all anxious to hear from the Cosmic Master, because I am. And actually, one of the greatest Hanuman, walking Hanuman, a friend of mine named Hamish, which you all know, asked me to tell this story. Oh, trying to think. So old now, and my synapses aren't working as well as they should. Mr. Toshi, he's a great one. He's right there. Another youthful soul. Swami arranged for me to go to all the sacred places in the Himalayas. I think it was about 2007, 2008. It was right after he asked me to come and live with him for the rest of my life. I'd had a room at the park. He came hundreds of times, actually, because I could afford to come for 1 or 2 darshans and go back. I've been doing that for years. As he said, to recharge your batteries, keep coming around. And it did work. Wow. So he arranged for General Mehta, who was one of his devotees, who was a general who was in charge and lived up in the Himalayas and knew all the holy places. And he arranged for 2 soldiers in plain clothes in a car to take us on this amazing journey that Swami had arranged to all the holy places that are only available primarily during the summertime when the snow melts. Kadarnath, Badranath. I'm sure you all know more about them than I do. So he said, you leave at a certain time. I said, yes, sir. And I always, if you have the responsibility, grace to sit on the veranda, his veranda, then you have to ask permission to leave. So I wrote a note to him in my room. I always wrote with a big Sharpie, really big black Sharpie. And I took the note to darshan the day that I was leaving that evening. And I said, Dear Lord, I wrote in my room, Dear Lord, I'm leaving for the Himalayas to all those sacred places that you asked me to go tonight. Love, Tigrit. And he came out and he immediately took the note. But instead of reading it, he turned it over and started staring at the back, which was completely blank. And looking at me pretty fiercely, back at the note, looking back at me, looking at the back of the note, looking at me, so go. So I left that night, went to all these amazing, amazing places, some that people don't even know about, a cave where Swami went and released a yogi into Samadhi, amazing cave. Another place that no one knows about where a rishi explained the Bhagavad Gita to a king in his court. And all the big holy places in the Himalayas. Well, I was pushing 60 at that time. And I didn't realize at the base camp in front of these places that you walk straight up a little narrow lane, literally up into the Himalayas with waterfalls and trees and all this. The 27-kilometer walk straight up the first day. Oh my God. I felt 160 at that point. I was so sore from that first day, and the guys said, get in, we're going to the next spot. We went to the next spot, and it was another 15 kilometers straight up and straight back. It was amazing. Swami has sent me to all these wonderful places, and they're always waiting for me. And even if the temple was closed, they opened it, and we had a puja, and he sent me the things. I remember one place, it's so humorous, I guess. It's where Rama went after killing Ravana back in India, and it's where these two great rivers come together, and he meditated at this spot for, I think, a month or something. So the story goes. So we went there, and I was jumping in on the rivers, the Yamuna, this one, that one. I'd take all my clothes off. These two officers would tie me with a rope. I had this giant 50-pound Shiva I'd have in my arms and some other things around me. And I just jump in. And of course, sink right to the bottom. And at that particular place, the water was so dangerous, but I jumped in anyway. I almost drifted away, and these guys pulled me back up. And I was completely naked like this, and there were 20 tourists taking pictures of me. I was amazed. Hope they don't end up on Facebook. Anyway, I could barely walk. And when we got to the last place, which was up, somewhere I think 8 or 9 kilometers to the mouth of the Yamuna River, I could barely make it. We'd been going 11 days straight. We didn't even sleep. We sleep in the car where the guys were driving. Oh my God. I could barely, walking down is worse than walking up. To do this is. So I was walking down, and I went, I'm so glad this is the last place, but I just don't think I can walk anymore. And they have a little tea shop at the halfway point where pilgrims can stop and get some tea. And they had chairs. I didn't want the tea, I wanted the chair. I barely made it halfway down. Tremendous pain. I sat in this chair and drifted into this place that I often go. Suddenly I was whisked back to the veranda, and there was Swami in front of me just as before, looking at the back of this note, empty, looking at the back, looking at me. Looking at the back, looking at me, looking at the back, looking at me. And then he spoke. He said, it's not about going to these sacred places or pilgrimage to these places. It's about what you bring back. It's about what you bring back, not going there, what you bring back. So here all of you are joined together in very interesting youth meet for a couple of days. You have the master, of course, to tell you like it is. But what are you going to take back home with you? That's what he was telling me. One of my favorite quotes from Sai Baba is, "Do not follow as I may not lead. Do not lead as I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend." Sai Baba is not only your best friend, he's your only friend. Saram.
On behalf of all of us, may we all pray to Bhagavan, the Lord God, to bless us this evening with His divine message. Saram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. As we pray to Bhagavan to grant His divine message, I perceive Him here with us in an orange robe, and I repeat as He speaks. జన్మి గర్భము నుండి జన్మించినప్పుడు కంఠమాల లేని కామరావు, మంచి ముత్యాపు సల్ల మంచునకు లేవు, నిలిమి బంగారు దండ మెడకు లేదు, రత్నాల హారములు వంజిల్లగలేవు, పచ్చల కింపల పొడగలేవు, వజ్రాల హారములు వర్ధిల్లగలేవు, గోమేది కప్పులు తోడలేవు. కానీ కలదు ఒక్క మాల నీ కంఠమందు, ఎన్ని చేసిన అవియన్ని వెంచి మంచిదైన చెడువైన తలుచుకుండా బ్రహ్మ మీకిచ్చి పంపున బహుమాల కర్మలన్నీ చేసిన కంఠమాల. This poem means when you are born from the womb of the mother, there is no other necklaces around your neck. There is neither a necklace made of pearls or of other precious gems, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and the likes. However, there is one necklace which you definitely wear when you are born. Whatever you have done earlier, whether good or evil, without leaving even one of it, Brahma, the Creator, has put this mala of all your actions that you have done previously around your neck. And this is the mala, this is the necklace of all your karma or actions that you wear when you are born. Dear embodiments of divinity, as we discussed this morning, that for every person who is born on this earth, death is certain. And for every person who dies, is born again as a consequence of the actions that he or she performs in his life or her life. The whole cycle of birth and death is merely the result of the actions and the following reactions that happen all the while. When we deal with this physical world, we know the laws of physics. The very law of Newton says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The law of physics that applies to this physical world is very much the same when it applies to the metaphysical world. For every action, there is a reaction. No action can happen without a reaction. This even a school student would easily understand. Thus, the material world's laws are not very different from the spiritual world's laws, as every action is bound to bear a reaction or a consequence. The whole world is called as Karma Bhumi, that is the land of action. Therefore, right from a small ant to a large elephant, from a newborn baby to the elderly who is about to die, everyone is constantly engaged in action. One cannot escape this action when one is in the world. Even if you do not do anything, not doing is also a kind of action that you are doing. Therefore, it's impossible to get rid of the consequences of whatever we do. The moral is, therefore, let us do that which is good. For good actions will have good reactions. As the poem goes, that if you do good, you will not receive bad results. And if you do bad, there is no way you can get good results. If you sow the seed of lemon, you cannot get a mango fruit out of it. Similarly, you cannot get a lemon fruit out of a mango seed. Whatever we do, our actions will cause reactions or consequences accordingly. Therefore, Adi Shankara says very, very simply, how do we deal with this world of actions, and how do we gain favorable reactions and not the ones which are unfavorable? He defines it in 4 steps. Tyaja Durjana Sansargam, that is the first step. It means give up the company of the bad and the evil, because it is the company that influences our thoughts. And as our thoughts are, so are our words. And as our words are, so are our actions. And as our actions are, so are the reactions. So the very first step that the youth must follow is Tyaja Durjana Sansargam. Give up the company of those who are bad or evil. The next step, it is not enough if you give up the bad company. The mind has to be taken out from the bad company and must be engaged in the good. So the second step, Bhaja Sadhu Samagamam. Join the company of the noble ones. Join the company of good people. What do you do after joining the company of the good people? It says the third step, which is Kuru Punya Mahoratram. Keep doing good deeds, meritorious deeds, day and night, not just day. Mahoratram. Aho means morning, Ratri means evening. Morning and evening, morning and night, you keep doing good deeds. That's what it says. And finally, the fourth step. Smara Nityam Anityatam. Remember what is real, what is not real. Discriminate between what is correct, what is incorrect. Think about what is right, what is not right. In this way, you go on discriminating every thought, every word, and every action by leaving the company of bad, joining the company of good, and continuously engaging yourself in good action. At least this will ensure that your reactions are also favorable. This morning we saw a small video presentation which very aptly described what happened in the life of a mother and a child. Though apparently it seems that they are suffering for no reason, but there is a reason behind it. What they have done in the past, in some way or the other, is being experienced by them in the present. And unless they now learn this lesson and change for good, they are not going to get out of the sorrow and suffering. This strong is this rule of karma, and nobody can breach it, nobody can escape it, for that is the very foundation, the very basis on which this universe is operating. For instance, there are traffic lights as we were coming. When the lights are red, we must stop. All the cars must stop. When the lights turn green, all the cars must proceed. If we stop at green and drive at red, all the confusion and the accidents will happen. Therefore, there is a law. According to law, when we go, there is no confusion, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is consistency, there is peace in the universe. So is this law of karma, which governs this entire universe, and nobody is an exception to this law. The first step we have to do is to engage in good actions. And good actions are not possible unless we are in a good company. So the first step in spirituality is to give up wrong company and join the company of the good and the noble. Therefore, ABC of spirituality is always be careful of what company you are. Therefore, always avoid bad company. If you are avoiding bad company by being careful, then it is third ABC, which says always be cheerful. Only when you avoid bad company and always be careful can you be always cheerful. Therefore, the first step of spirituality, as many of the children have come from many new colleges and other places, for them this is good enough if they understand from this youth meet that ABC is avoid bad company and always be careful. Careful with your thoughts, careful with your words, careful with your actions, because all these are going to produce reactions or consequences which will bind you back into them, and therefore you have to go on experiencing the results of these things. So minimum one can do is to engage in good actions, positive actions, noble actions, so that your reactions are also happy ones, and those which are favorable to you and those around you. Today morning, also this morning, we discussed about questions and answers and doubts that children and youth may ask. It is very important to clarify our doubts. If you have doubts inside your heads, then you cannot proceed far in the path of spirituality. For that matter, in any path you cannot proceed if you have doubt. Suppose you are driving a car and you know you have a doubt whether this is brake or this is accelerator, or that is clutch or this is accelerator. Can you drive safely? You rather clear your doubts saying this is the brake and that is the accelerator, so that you don't press the wrong one at the time when it has to be pressed, and then you don't get into accidents. A great big building cannot be built on weak foundations. These are the foundation years of your life, and if there is a loose stone or two in the foundation, it's definitely going to make it weaker. And on a weaker foundation, even if the building is built, it's not going to stand for too long. Therefore, remove all the doubts from your mind by seeking the company of those who are experienced, who are noble, and then you clarify your doubts, so there is no more confusion or any question in your head. You can ask questions. Madhusudan. You can give the mic in the back. There are a lot of young boys speakers that side. If one person asks, everybody will ask after that. It's typical classroom.
Swami, with all due respect, I worship the Lord's feet and ask this question. Actually, I should not ask a question because you are Lord and I am the refugee. This I want is because you are the creator of the world. Please change the law of karma. Because actually it's not a joke. Because a lot of people are suffering because of past karma which has been brought by the atmas and previous births. Actually, we have not done it, Swami. You know it better. You know about us. And please forgive us, Swami, for all the past bad karmas. And if you can change the law of karma so that they have to pay in this birth itself, as the Buddha said, karma, then people will love everyone, serve everyone. They won't hurt anyone. Otherwise, we will have to, your atma is pure, We have to carry the bad karmas that we do. Swami, please do it. Thank you very much.
When God created the universe, unfortunately, you were not there to advise him. Swami says, if a student in the school comes and tells the teacher, please forgive me, I have not studied anything whole of this year, though you told me several times. I haven't prepared for the exams, though I knew exams are going to come. And I haven't written anything in the answer paper, even though I'm supposed to write. Can you please pass me any which ways so that I can go to the next class? This question is equivalent to that. You do not put your effort, you do not do anything, and you expect the teacher to just break the rules of the school and say, anybody who comes and says, pass me and you should pass. Then there won't be any engineers, there won't be doctors, there won't be anybody helping anyone in this world. Because nobody would have got educated. They would be only carrying worthless papers called degrees without any consequence or any use to any of this. The same thing is with the path of spirituality. God, who is like the teacher, who comes to teach us what is the right way of living, what is the way to conduct ourselves. We must pay heed to his words. He may speak in several ways to several people, sometimes through scriptures, sometimes through masters, sometimes through your own elders, sometimes through your own good friend, sometimes through your own conscience which tells you from within what is right, what is wrong. Unless you pay attention to all these things, you cannot learn anything. Now, as far as the karmas are concerned, why you are suffering in this birth, why can't we finish all of it in this birth? It is like this. If you haven't done any studies for the whole of year, in the last 1 week you cannot study and pass the exam. You will have to take another year to study further and then pass the exam. Our karmas have various types of consequences. For instance, if you hit this desk, immediately your hands are also hurt. If you hit the wall, your hands are hurt. You immediately experience the reaction of this action. But if you eat food now, after some time only that gets digested and then you feel satisfied. It takes a little more time. Then there are karmas which, like sowing a seed. If you sow it today, it comes, the tree comes after some time. It doesn't come immediately. Likewise, all the kinds of karmas that we do, they all have reactions in different points in time. And some of them we may experience then and there. Some of them may happen over a period of time, as the type of actions are. Therefore, it is very difficult to meddle with this whole thing, otherwise there will be tremendous confusion in the universe. As I said, certain laws must govern the public, else there will be chaos, there will be accidents, there will be disharmony in the society. So your application for cancelling this law of karma hereby stands rejected. But what I can tell you is, if you have devotion to God, if you have tremendous faith in God, He can help you cross over this cycle of karma. Love for God, devotion for God, selflessness are like the shoes. You will have to still walk on the same road full of thorns and stones and pits and all kinds of difficulties. But by having God's grace, by having faith in Him, love for Him, it's like you wear a shoe. When you wear shoes, you can walk the same road, but you won't feel the pain or suffering or the sorrow. This is the secret of how, without breaking this rule of karma also, you can go through it and not suffer at all. So develop this kind of devotion, this kind of faith, and earn the grace of Lord by your good deeds now, so that you are able to, any which ways, go through whatever you have to go through, and still be happy and not suffer. The easier way out of karma is do selfless actions. Selfless actions will not have reactions to you. For example, if you cook food and you eat, it is you who is going to experience it. If you cook food and the neighbor eats, it's the neighbor who will experience the food. Likewise, whatever actions you do, if you do it selflessly for the love of God, and you say, God, whatever I do, the best of my abilities I have done for you, please accept it. The whole thing is transferred to God. Now God will handle whatever the reactions or consequences are coming out of it. and you don't have to worry about it. Krishnarpamastu, this is one small mantra. If you say from the bottom of your heart, oh Lord, I offer this action to you, taken care, then you don't have to worry about the reactions. He will take care of everything. Some young people may doubt, how can we offer everything to God? I am having bath, that is also a reaction. I am brushing my teeth, that can also have reaction. I am studying, how can I offer studies to God? But truth is that you can offer everything to God. Why do I brush? So that the teeth that God has given should shine like pearls. When I smile at others, they should feel happy looking at my teeth, not sad. That way I still serve God. When I have bath and my body is neat and clean, it's fragrant and fresh, I am offering this also to God. If I do not have bath, I have germs, I have infections, how can I be helping anybody in the society? Likewise, little things, you keep your clothes clean, you say this also is an act of worship to God, that I want to keep these clothes clean. By that, you please the other person who looks at you. Who wants to look at a person who is wearing tattered, dirty, shabby clothes? Likewise, if you start thinking that everything I am doing in order to help others, please others, and offer that to God, everything can be turned into worship. All your work will become worship. I eat so that I have strength, so that my body is nourished, and with this body I can help 10 others. I am studying so that I have knowledge which develops into skills, and through these skills I can help others. By being a doctor I can help patients. By being an engineer I can help build ashram or an orphanage or an old age home or even anything, any infrastructure for the benefit of the society. I am a teacher, I can help other children know good things, know values, and develop into good individuals. A good husband, a good wife, a good child, in everything. Think like this. Then even if this law is there, it does not really affect you. You go above this law. This is the way. Without breaking the law also, you can survive in this world and live happily by rising above these worldly laws. And how do you go above? By becoming selfless. Because all these laws apply only to selfish people. The moment you turn selfless, you have come out of this game. This game is no more yours, you are not playing it anymore. Lord looks after everything. So that is the easiest suggestion which may be accepted. To live selflessly.
Swami, I have a question, Swami. In the book that Brother Madhu wrote, The Story Divine, there's a chapter, Swami, where it's described how there was a trip to the Kailash, and subsequently Swami, Brother Madhu was there, and Lord Shiva and Parvati met with Swami and Pada Namaskaram. Help us understand this, Swami. It's always our understanding that you are the embodiment of Shri Shakti. But in the book you describe yourself as the Emperor of Brahmaloka. Help us understand this, Swami.
Swami says, God is only one without the second. Advitiyam. He is one without the second. That is the original, pure, unsullied truth. He is in the form of the Atman, which does not have any attributes, gunas, or any other aspects to it. It is pure, unsullied bliss and knowledge that it is. However, it takes various forms in order to do various work. For example, electricity runs through these bulbs, it becomes light. When it runs through the fans, it becomes wind. When it runs through the air conditioning, it becomes coolness or heat. Likewise, it is the same electricity which runs through various other objects or instruments, and they then it causes different kind of results. The same Atman has taken various forms, right from the greatest of the gods to the ordinary insect or an ant. Everything is working because of this electricity called Atman. But because of its contact with the kind of form, it produces different results. So when it comes to Shiva and Shakti, three aspects of God: generator, organizer, destroyer, G-O-D. Very easy to understand. The one who creates, the one who sustains, and the one who finally causes the dissolution of this entire universe. That is the nature of God. Now each department has been given one role. Generator department, organizer department, destroyer department. Likewise, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. These are the various aspects in which this whole universe has been distributed, and under them there are gods, demigods, and many other beings, angels, who are running the whole thing. Just like how a government works in a country, there is a president and there are ministries of various departments, under them there are officers and other public servants, and that's how each of these departments operates. So when you say that it is Shiva Shakti, it is that department of dissolution, and Shakti is nothing but that power of dissolution. Shiva is the principle and Shakti is the power. And both of them together, it is called Shiva Shakti. For your better understanding, though I have mentioned that when I had to make myself manifest, I had to take some form, some aspect. And I took the aspect of Shiva Shakti, which truly stands for the principle of Shiva, which is auspiciousness, for it destroys all the evil, and Shakti, which is the power that destroys the evil and restores the good. So that principle of Shiva Shakti is what Swami embodies or stands for, which is what is the true Shiva Shakti form of Swami, if you have to understand in the essence of it. That way, if you look at the Maheshwara, Parvati, which symbolize that aspect, are definitely different from the Atman that Swami symbolizes. But for the understanding of people, it's been told this way. So there is Swami in the Atma Swarupa as the president of this whole universe, and then there are departments which operate under the guidance or leadership of Devatas. So this is the difference, even though we are same at the Atmic level, at the working level or at the managing level, these are two different aspects. So consider Swami as the Parabrahma Shiva, that is the Atman. When Shivoham you say, you don't refer to Lord Shiva, you refer to the principle of Lord Shiva, which is auspiciousness, goodness. So that principle of Lord Shiva Shakti is what Swami truly signifies, and that is why there is a slight difference as you read in the book. Do you understand? No ladies have questions? Ask.
Okay, Swami, I have quite a number of friends in the Sai organization. Friends, brothers, gurus. Unfortunately now, many of us separated because of this party and why this drama also? You brought all of us together in this organization. So seems like you only separated all this.
Swami says, you have heard about connecting trains. You take one train to go to a station, then you take another train to go forward, isn't it? That is how all these things are. When Shirdi Sai came, he brought you to a certain station, and then you took the route of Shakti Sai, and then you got into another train which took you a little further, and then you have this Sukshma Sai, a special train service which is taking you to the next destination. Therefore, it is all for a reason. Now if somebody says that this is all my station is, I do not want to go forward from here, this is all it is, and they are happy in that station. If that is their station, very happy. They don't need to take the new train. But if some people feel that they have to further travel on this journey, and they need to catch another train so that we go forward, then they will board this train. Sooner or later, everybody, as they get off the train and look around, they'll see, oh, this is not the station that I wanted to reach, I must go further. And they will find their own ways, their own paths. Somebody may walk to the destination, somebody may take a Tonga, somebody may take a car or a taxi, somebody will take a bus, and somebody will take this special train. But all of them in time will reach, as the Gita says, Kalegatmani Vindati. Everybody has to reach the destination. This is one service through which you can reach. There are other ways also. So as there are people, so many other ways. And those who feel this is the way which is easier, they will move this way. There are so many other ways through which also people can move forward. So there is no need of judging or no need of analyzing or declaring or saying things which are unwarranted, which is not necessary. This is just one way of getting closer to the real Swami, as I just explained, the Atman within. There are so many other ways of doing that. Some go faster, some slower, some go earlier, some reach later. Ultimately, everybody will reach in their good time. The one who develops this kind of a broader understanding will not have any confusion, will not have any narrow-mindedness.
Sairam Swami. Swami, I have a question.
Yes.
About unity in diversity and oneness of God. Sometimes we try our best to see oneness of God in everything, but always seems like duality always wins. Let it be among family members, relatives, neighbors, at working place, as far as our leaders. Sometimes feel like the duality always overpower the oneness. Thank you, sir.
What overpowers oneness?
Oneness of God means we see God everything. We always try to practice unity, diversity. But always there's a feeling that duality always win over this.
Yes, purity.
No, when the duality seems like winning over the oneness of and unity, diversity.
Which is by nature of the world is dual. It is natural for water to go where the slope is low. To pump it up against the slope is where it becomes difficult. So to experience diversity or duality or differences is very natural for the man with a worldly vision. So obviously everybody is going to go that way. But somebody who wants to swim against the tide of unity will have to work harder, will have to stand against the general principle. As the boy was telling, you have to challenge that thinking that this is natural, not necessary. This may be the vision that you have developed due to the worldly desires, due to the selfishness, due to individuality, the ego, that causes you to see the differences. So obviously, that is the easiest thing to do and that is the easiest way to drift. So all of them go that way. However, what should happen is you must hold on to the principle that you have stood for. You should not give in to the lower ideas of division, differences and dualities. It is up to you to experience and to understand and hold on to this feeling that Swami talks about. And if you hold on to the truth, you hold on to the Dharma, know for sure that that Dharma will protect you. It will see to that you are not harmed. It will see to that the right thing is done, even if it happens gradually or eventually. So you holding on to your Dharma is very important. If you believe in unity, if you believe in togetherness, then you hold on to that thought, that feeling, and do not give in to the narrow-minded, selfish differences that others may preach. So truly, if you are strong in your conviction, things will change for you. But don't give in too easily into other people's way of thinking or pressure. That's when you have to stand for your principles, for your values. David was saying, you must learn to stand for your values. Many start with great idealism, but eventually they give in because of the pressure around. Just to be one with the surroundings, you give up your idealism and enthusiasm, which is not the way. You must stand, even if you are alone. If you are right, you must still stand alone. So what if others are not around you? Even if you are right and you are alone, you must still be right. You should not become wrong for the sake of joining the many. That's when you stand apart. So think like this and stick on to the principle that Swami teaches. Then obviously sooner or later you will see the difference even in the surroundings, even in the people around you.
Saran Swami, thank you for this opportunity. My question is as follows. How else can we as youth improve the community so that any service projects that are established are not only sustainable but enable the transformation of life?
So many projects are there. The first project I will give you all the youth is unity of thought, word and deed. Manasekam, Karmanekam, Vachasekam Mahatmanam. The one whose thoughts, words and actions are united is a great person. Manasanyat, Vachasanyat, Karmananyat, Duratmanam. The one whose thoughts, words and actions don't match, he is a evil one or wicked one. Therefore, first thing you must do is, and I re-emphasize, as I heard from the other speakers, the younger one, Tiger, who said that what we think we must have the courage to say it. And what we say we must have the courage to do it. There should not be any discrepancy between the three. This strength of character, this is character. This unity of thought, word and deed is real character. And you must develop the courage and to hold on to your character. That is the first step the youth are supposed to do. Only when you develop this unity, you will get insights, you will get a lot of inspirations to do things for others. But tomorrow you start a project, and then some friend comes and says, oh, what are you behaving like old people, going to all these bhajan centers and spending time on all these spiritual topics. Let us go have a party, and then you join them because you don't want to lose such friends. Then all your spirituality over that very moment. If you hold on and say that, no, I stand for this value. This is how I want to live my life. Whether somebody joins me or not, I will continue to develop this strength. Then you can participate in seva projects. First, you start doing seva at your home, to your parents, to your people. If they need some help, you do seva. It should not happen that you go whole day, do seva to some old age woman, come back and start ordering to your mother, Mother, I'm hungry, get me my food, get me my this. That is not the right way. You must develop that within the family first. This is for the new children who are here, and slowly grow into community service projects. But as it was mentioned, there are some projects, and there at least fortnightly you must engage in something which is outside your family or the community. Every day you must do an act of selflessness, whatever little way you can. And every month you must engage in a larger project that Swami has given, that's already there in your own countries, in your own circles. So join that when you are ready.
One of our brothers is a question. Swami, his question is, how do you tell or teach a small child of 7 to 8 years old when they say that they think they feel jealous? How do we help the child when we ourselves struggle with the same thoughts?
This jealousy arises from comparison. You compare with others, then you become jealous. You compare with those who have certain things which you do not have, and you become jealous. Such a person should go and see those people who do not even have what you have. And then you will stop feeling jealous of everybody else. You will start feeling very, very fortunate and happy about what you already have. So if at all you have to compare yourself, compare with those who do not have it, who do not even have those things which you have. This morning they were talking in the presentation. We take things for granted. We have a shelter, we have food to eat, we have good health, we have parents, we have good education. We think all this is natural and it's there for everyone. It's not true. So you tell the child, you sensitize the child to those who even do not have these basic things which he has, and he should feel good about it. Then he will feel satisfied and grateful for all that he has. The same applies to the elders also. When they look at things, they must look at those who are even not privileged to have these things which you have. And then you must feel good about it instead of going on comparing with others who have more. For desires are insatiable. They can never be fulfilled. If you fulfill one desire, another will come out. If you fulfill another one, another will come out. There is a story of this Raktabijasura whom the mother goddess wanted to kill. But the moment you kill him, with one drop that falls from his body, another Bijasura, another demon is born. So the more you kill, the more demons are born. That is the story with desires too. You fulfill one desire, 2 more are born. You fulfill 2, 4 more are born. There is no limit to one's desire. So therefore live life by what you need, not by your greed, but by desires. And first you live that kind of a life, then you can teach the children as well. That is very important, especially in youth. They all look at things, that person has bigger job, bigger car, bigger house. They only look at the outwardly bigger things. Inwardly, who is bigger? Nobody is looking at Ultimately, that is what is going to matter finally. So you have to change your vision inwards. Instead of looking that side, start looking the other side, that there are people who do not even have all that you are blessed with, then you will never feel jealous of others.
Saram Swami. Swami, recently in a satsang held in Singapore, you have mentioned about learning Sanskrit. We would like to learn Sanskrit. Can Swami provide us a platform in Malaysia to learn Sanskrit? Thank you, Swami.
Our Malaysia in charge is, do you know Sanskrit? Or there are so many avenues. If 5 of you who are very interested in learning Sanskrit get together, you can learn and teach each other. We begin with that. There are so many avenues. Shraddhavan, Lavate Jnana. The one who really has sincerity to gain knowledge will definitely gain it wherever it is. Haven't you heard of the story of the Dronacharya and Ekalavya? Dronacharya rejected Ekalavya as a disciple because he was only from a hunting community and not fit to be a student in his royal school. But this boy made a statue of Dronacharya and he prayed to it and then practiced so much that he was at par with the best of Dronacharya's disciple, that is Arjuna. So if you really want to learn in order to understand the scriptures correctly and really experience the joy of that meaning that comes out of these scriptures, which cannot be translated into any other language of the world completely and correctly, then you have to put your own efforts. You start, 4 or 5 more who are like-minded may join together, and avenues are plenty. There are books, there are various programs. You can even do a degree nowadays from various reputed universities. So the avenues are many. If you want, you can use these premises also to come together as a few people who have this interest, and over a weekend or so sit down every weekend and teach yourself. There are plenty of ways.
Sorry. Is serving for animal considered as seva?
Serving
for animals is considered as seva.
Serving anyone is seva. Selflessly serving anyone is seva. Why animals are any different? Animals are also part of this whole creation. They are also as much divine as you are. Therefore, serving anyone is seva. In fact, animal seva is a great seva. The poor creatures, they don't even have these faculties that you have. They can't speak, they can't express. If they are in pain, they can't even tell. Such seva is a great seva. Animals are always dear to Swami because they are so pure, they are so kind, they are so satisfied with their life. They don't have any greed. Even a lion won't kill another animal for that day if it already has had its meals. It will think about its food the next day. Even the most ferocious ones are also kind and satisfied, contented with their lives. Only man is the animal who is never contented with what he has. So it's important that we do seva to animals. If you find satisfaction in doing that, by all means, go and help animals.
Swami. Thank you so much, Swami, for blessing us with this opportunity. I have 2 questions, Swami. Could you please explain to us and elaborate on the benefits of chanting the Rudra and how it enhances our spiritual progress and attaining liberation?
Chanting is only one step of spiritual progress. Therefore, step by step only we go and reach our destiny, which is self-realization. It begins with chanting or listening to Rudram Shravanam, as one of the Bhakti Margas says, listening to the sound of good things, that is, the ones which are like name of God, the mantras, the Vedas, the Upanishads. The sound itself will transform you. The good sound of these mantras, even if you don't understand them, will transform you. For example, if you are sitting here, you listen to a loud jarring music, immediately your mind is excited, your thoughts are disturbed. At the same time, you listen to very peaceful, soothing music, immediately your mind is put to rest. Therefore, Shabda Brahmamai, the sound is as sacred as the divinity. Rudram's sound are designed in such a way because these mantras have been received by the rishis. These are not composed like poems. These are all received by the rishis in their meditation, and whatever feelings emanated in their hearts, they immediately took the shape of words from their lips, just as we burst into a tune or a song when we are happy or sad. Likewise, these sounds came out from their mouths, the language formed, and the description of Lord Rudra came forth. Therefore, these sounds are very sacred, and this listening or chanting them itself can help you a lot in having better concentration and develop much calmer mind, which is a basic fundamental need on a spiritual path. To have good concentration, to have stable, pure mind, it is extremely important. So Rudran can help you in taking the first step towards it. But if you understand the meaning, meditate on it, it will help you grow much deeper within. But Rudra says that Rudra is the god who destroys. What does he destroy? He said he's angry always. Rudra. He's angry for what? He's angry for the evil that we do. So we pray to him to destroy the evil within us, wickedness within us, with all his hands, and thereby redeem us. So when you pray thus, his grace will definitely come upon you, and it will help you become a better person. And as you become purer and purer, you become nearer to your true self. So the truth is that you already are that. All that which is covering that, the dust and rust, gets removed. That is what Rudram can do for you. If you chant and you listen, it will definitely help you to take the first steps of cleansing yourself of all the impurities and grow closer to divinity that you are. It definitely helps.
Thank you, Swami. So the second question is, are we entitled to ask for forgiveness, like the opportunity given to Isaac Tigert? And could you please tell us what the procedure is?
For forgiveness. You can always ask for forgiveness. You can always put your application. Whether it gets granted or not, it's up to God. You can always ask for forgiveness. But more importantly, you should learn how to forgive before you ask for forgiveness. Those who forgive are forgiven, said Jesus. Those who know how to forgive others are forgiven. Therefore, first you develop that kind of a nature of forgiving people, and then you can also be forgiven by God. It depends on your purity, it depends on your paschatapa, which is paschatapa, kind of remorse or the kind of anguish that you go through for having done the wrong. And not only that, you take a firm resolution that you will never repeat it again. With that feeling and sincerity when you come, definitely you can be forgiven. Even the President of India can forgive criminals, isn't it? Then why would God not forgive you if you are true in your sincerity?
Swami?
Nobody's giving mic to the women, I think. Observe all the mics.
Swami, when answering the first question, you said develop devotion to God. How can we develop this unquenching devotion where we desire only for God all the time? How do we develop such devotions?
See, you go to a barber, if he does a small haircut for you, you give him money and also say thank you. If you go to a doctor for your disease and he treats you with some medicine, he charges you a fee, you pay the money and you still say thank you. Anybody who does little bit for you, even at a charge, you go and tell thank you. You develop some kind of a warmth, some kind of affection for that. God, who has been doing everything for you without charging a penny, without asking anything in return, since the very beginning, how much affection should you have for God, who has always looked after you? So if you simply remind yourself that God has done so much for me, all the time is looking after me, caring for me, without expecting anything. He alone loves me so selflessly. Should we not automatically develop some affection and love for God? The more we think about this great truth, that God alone is doing everything for us, the more love will grow for God. And as you keep meditating on this truth and make it a part of your life, your devotion for God will go on increasing. That is the easiest way to start loving God.
Swami, we love you this opportunity. Swami, you're the only true doer in this universe. In that sense, you're also the only receiver of the reactions. If you're saying there is action and reaction. Swami, I have one question. I feel the way to love all and serve all is to lose our personality, lose ourselves, so we are not in your way, who is the true doer. So you act. You told us about evil, bad and evil, good and evil, sorry, and how we should follow and do good deeds. And I understand this because when I act according to goodness, then I feel I have more love and I'm closer to you, Swami. But surely there must be a purpose for you to have created evil. The jewel is the two sides of the same coin. So what is the purpose of this evil, Swami, that you have created? Thank you.
I did not create evil or good. I created the universe, which was always good. As long as everybody followed the rules of this game called life, everything is good. For instance, I will tell you. Let's say you are playing a game of football. In football, there are two teams. There has to be two teams. Only then there can be a game. How can one person keep taking the ball and putting in the goal and it becomes a game? It cannot. Somebody has to oppose this. The team which is playing this side and team which is playing that side, both are playing with this good spirit of the game. There is no evil. This team cannot call the other people evil because they are opposing this team and putting the goal. Or that team cannot call this team evil because they are trying to win the game. It's a game. One who understands this thoroughly will not see evil or good. Will see only two opposite forces which are a part of a game. However, when it goes on according to the rules, according to the law, then there is no problem. But if some team starts playing foul, some player starts breaking the rule and start doing things which are not permitted, that's when the bad or evil begins. When one becomes selfish and tries to gain things at the cost of others, then the game gets spoiled. Then the evil arises. So it is God who created everything in the equal way. But the selfishness that arose within, by man started using this faculty of mind, by identifying oneself with only a limited existence of body and mind. That's when all the rules started being broken and the danger or the difficulties began. So again God comes like a referee and reminds, saying what you are doing is wrong, should not do like this. And the person corrects himself, the game goes on peacefully and it becomes a joy or entertainment for all the people who see and all the people who play. That is the spirit with which we must understand the working of this universe. And all this effort that Swami puts is again to come back and teach us not to break the rules, not to play foul. Play it with the spirit of the game, which is to enjoy this whole experience of life. And that is exactly what we are trying to do. So when you play it well, play it with the rules, even if you lose the game, you are still happy. You don't become sad. But when you play it wrong, play it in a foul way, even if you win the game, you cannot be happy. This is how you have to understand the good and the evil in the universe. There is a program after this? One question, ladies and not gents. Even though the young on the chair.
So, I've always wondered if our life is preordained, that means predestined, say 100%, or a certain percentage is left to our efforts and endeavors. And secondly, by looking at our birth chart, is an astrologer capable of predicting some part of the future? Did you? That's also two questions.
Swami says when you are born, you are definitely born, as I mentioned, with all that you have done in the past, which you bring along with you, even if it is unseen. And your past vasanas, your instincts, your likes, dislikes, whatever you have accumulated will influence the way this birth is going to be, how it will be. Somebody becomes a musician by birth. How do we explain that one becomes a musician without training? Because it is coming from somewhere. Therefore, when astrologers predict, they truly predict based on what we have brought forth. But it does not mean that it cannot change. Many astrologers, when you go and consult, they also tell you that by divine grace, by one's effort, lot of things can be changed. What you do with your life today, based on the kind of company that you join, based on the kind of things that you learn and do, will affect it in a great way. Ultimately, as astrologers may say that the date of death is certain, and I also said that date of death is certain, unless it is a divine intervention which changes it for a good reason. But astrologers can only define this period. How you live this period is very much in your hand, is as much as in your hand as it is in your destiny. So if you choose correctly, you will definitely be able to live the same period of time, the life that has been given to you, in a better way. And therefore, there are no hard and fast rules that it has to be this way. It can be different also based on God's grace and the kind of good company and the things that you learn. At your level, understanding it this way is the best way to understand. But the one who has completely surrendered to God, who has no sense of doership, as I said, he rises above the rules of the physical world. He rises above these laws of the physical world, and their life is in a different way. So to the surrendered, to the one who has realized, these rules really don't apply. He has risen above. But those who are not yet, it is better to understand it this way, that yes, there are certain things fixed because of what you have done in the past and brought forward, but how you lead your life during this period largely depends on the choices that you make, kind of company that you keep, and how you use the opportunities that God gives you at every turn of your life. And now we will close today's session, and we will go to the next program, which is going to be a dance program. Drama program. Tomorrow we will meet once more, all the people. Alright. Tomorrow morning is an important event too. Swami, as we start the many seva projects from here, Swami also is simultaneously starting many seva projects from whole of Asia Pacific in all the countries. So we will meet tomorrow to discuss all this.
Dear delegates and observers, kindly be seated as Swami will return for the drama program. Thank you and Jai Sai.